All right, guys, we're back with You're Your Biggest Critic podcast. This week, we have Lauren on the podcast. I'm so excited for her to be on. She is a news or like a anchor for, I'm blanking, sorry, for the sports realm. Sorry, I'm like blanking. It's so cool. I watched some of her like reels and videos, and it literally looks like she's having like the best time. She's also Rachel's sister, so I thought it would be fun to have her on and to tell her side of what she does and of social media. And so I want everybody to give a warm welcome to Lauren.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Of course, I'm so excited.
I know, me too.
I don't know why I just like blanked. I always do that with the intros. I think it's just because I get nervous.
No, and then after that, you just kind of, yeah.
I know. And I'm sure you know with like what you do. So why don't you tell us a little bit of where you're from and what you do now?
Yeah, so I'm from Dallas, Texas, like a suburb in Dallas, and I attended TCU for the past 3.5 years, but I just got a job in Lubbock, which is in West Texas. If not a lot of people know where it is, but it's where Texas Tech is, and I'm working at a local station there as their sports reporter and anchor.
That's so cool. Like I said, I like watched one of your videos the other day and it looks so fun. Like you look so professional. You're sitting there and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I kind of want to do that. Is it too late for me to switch major?
No, it's actually really fun. Like I literally a normal Tuesday, I just get to go to a basketball game.
That's like, so fun.
Yeah.
What are your like, hours like since, basketball is like at night and stuff?
Yeah, it's really weird to be honest with you. Hours are hard because sports are like 24/7. And even when I talk to my sports director, she's kind of like, okay, what days do you want off this week? Because I just kind of have to figure it out around like what is going on that week. But basically I go in around 2:00. Today's a little different because it's a Sunday and we only have a 10 p.m. show. So I go in a lot later, but I normally go in around 2:00 and I'm there till around 10:30 after the 10 p.m. show.
That's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, that's so fun. And you just get to like stand on the sideline and
literally
I'm in the game.
Yeah, it's so weird too. Like, because I grew up watching these games on TV and stuff like that. And now I'm at every single one of them. And like, I get to interview the coaches and stuff like that. So it's weird.
That's so cool. What made you want to be a sports anchor?
Kind of weird. So I was in high school and I was kind of just like going through every single thing that I wanted to be. And so me and my sister were actors growing up, like our entire lives. That's all we did. And so I would have loved to do acting, but it's a hard industry to make it in. So, I wanted to be a teacher for a while. I kind of just wanted to do something where I could like talk in front of people because that's just what I knew best. And I always grew up watching, sports with my dad, all the time. And so he's the one who actually brought it to my attention, I think my junior year of high school, and was like, well, there's this industry in, sports broadcasting, you could do that. Like a lot of women are doing it now. And so that's when I kind of looked into it and never looked back, I guess.
That's awesome. And I feel like when you said teacher, I feel like every girl in America wants to be a teacher at some point in their life. I was wanting to be a teacher and now I'm like staying far away from that industry.
No, then you realize like what actually goes into it and you're like, maybe not.
Yeah, I went to 3 teaching classes at my college and I'm like, oh no, this is not for me.
Oh, especially I think everyone's like, oh, I want to be like an elementary school teacher. And I'm like, kids are fun, but like not 40 weeks out of the year. I don't know. Or how many weeks.
Yeah, it's a lot. But so growing up, did you see like a lot of like women in that field, or did you see it like mostly like men dominantly?
Men dominantly growing up. And there was always that there's always like the main few, like Maria Taylor, Erin Andrews, the women who kind of like led a path for females in this industry. But it wasn't until recently, like literally my 3.5 years in college, when I saw it really expand to where now like you watch a sporting event and there's no way you don't see a female on there.
And I love
doing something. Yeah. No, I think it's really great. It's really great to have them in the industry. And I think personally, I think females, from what I've seen so far, add like extra texture, I guess you could say, to it, because I don't know. I've noticed a lot, like men oftentimes are very biased when it comes to sports, and this isn't all the time, but I think females, like, just being afraid of being wrong, like to see sports from all sides. And I think that's, what you need in the industry. So
yeah. And what would you say, like, how do you think it's expanded for just this past couple of years? You just said you've seen it kind of expand. How would you say it has like expanded, and what are some stigmas that you are seeing that are kind of like being destigmatized within your realm of the sports industry? Because like growing up, I used to watch football and go to every single NC State football. I'm from North Carolina, so
okay,
I don't know if you know like teams down here, but like we went to all, like we had season tickets to football, basketball. And so I grew up, but like you said, like I saw guy reporters like standing on the side. Like I never really saw a girl reporter, and except these past couple of years, you're seeing like more in the NFL, and you're seeing like more like girl referees and stuff. And it's like really, it's almost like an empire that we're building. So like, what would you say like has revolutionized that?
And I think so personally, like you brought up the NFL, like I feel like it definitely started in the NFL, and I could be wrong, but that's just my own opinion. Like I said, with Erin Andrews, Maria Taylor, Doris Burke. And so I definitely think it started there with sideline reporting, and, females were basically just sideline reporters. And now, like over the past few years, I mean, like there are, play-by-play analysts and commentators that are females now, and there's all like female just groups that are basically commentating on these sporting events, which I think is so cool. But yeah, it's definitely shifted a lot, and kind of like the stigma that you were talking about. I mean, I think, which I also love to see this change. When it first started out, I feel like you had to be like this beautiful blonde, and there are a lot of blondes in the industry, but I mean, it's changed a lot where you see different women with different looks. And I really like that, how you don't have to be this like fit this mold to do it.
Yeah, I feel like with everything there's a stigma that we do, and I love how we're breaking down these like exterior walls and saying like, no, anybody can be in this industry. It doesn't have to be just guys, because like you said, sometimes like, and that was like your opinion, but I also can see that like guys being biased because they do know a lot about it. Like sometimes like when I hear commentating, they're throwing these terms out and I'm like, I have no clue what they're talking about. And so I think it's cool to see like, okay, they can do it, we can do it too. And how are we going to expand that?
Yeah.
So how can like we see them expanding? Is it because the NFL has money and you think they're wanting to spend money in that aspect of, okay, let's expand this? Or how do you think we can keep expanding this to trickle down into like even like high school and college?
I think, in my opinion, the NFL has done the best job, or not NFL, I guess I would just say football in general, because the NCAA does a great job as well. NCAA basketball and the NBA have kind of, been incorporating that also. I've seen, baseball do it a lot more too. I think it just more expansion. I mean, there's not a lot of females in the NHL with hockey, and there's not a lot of females in soccer. There's not a lot of females in NASCAR. So, definitely just keep expanding to more of the organizations, I guess.
Yeah. So are you just basketball, or can you expand into those realms of like hockey or soccer or football? Like next football season, could you do football?
Absolutely. So since I work for a station, I get to basically report on like really anything that happens here. But I mean, the big ones are obviously basketball and football. And since it's right in the middle of basketball season right now, that's mostly what I do. But, I cover tech, I cover high school. We also, Lubbock has another university here called Lubbock Christian. So no, I get to cover basically whatever I want, just here in the Lubbock area. So
that's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say like, have you gotten some mean kind of comments since you started? You're laughing, so I kind of take it as, yeah, girl, you have.
So I'm actually thankful. I haven't gotten any since I've started
Okay.
here.
Okay.
But I'm just kind of waiting for them because I've heard that, they're there. But no, I've gotten some funny comments on Twitter actually. Um, just me, so I posted this one tweet. I'll just talk about a specific one. I posted this one tweet about a Cowboys game, and this Cowboys Nation Twitter retweeted it, and I just got people commenting being like, you obviously don't watch the Cowboys very often if you think that. And I was like, and they're like, yeah, like you're a girl, you probably just don't watch football. And I was like, okay. Like, thank you, but whatever.
Thank you, but I'm actually a commentator, so drop.
I was like, actually, Cowboys Nation retweeted it, but thank you. No, so I mean, it's just a lot of that, I feel like, where it's like, I just always have to prove myself that I know everything. And it's like, in this industry, you can't know everything. Not everybody can know everything about everything. So
exactly. And like that, I think that's what's frustrating is we are always trying to prove ourselves in whatever industry we are. And for me, it's the podcast industry because you have these influencers which are like, I love influencers, but they have more of a spotlight than I do. So I'm constantly trying to prove myself and get brands to look at my podcast or do nonprofit work. And so like my voice can be heard. And I'm sure it's the same for you. It's like that tweet like was kind of mean and like de-promoting to like what you just worked for 3 years. And it's like, you don't know me. So why are you commenting that?
Yeah,
also
exactly.
The Cowboys just retweeted it. So if you really look at
it, go talk to them, not me.
I know. So is your is your greater goal, would you say, to be an NFL reporter? Is that a dream of yours, or do you want to stay kind of local?
So it kind of depends. I've always said that, being a sideline reporter for the NFL is like the dream. But like I said earlier, I mean, the NFL, it's a very rigorous and like hard organization to make it in because that's what everybody wants to go to. So I had like this internship this summer and it was with a racetrack and literally like taught me so much of everything that I know. And so I don't know, I think ending up in NASCAR would be really cool too, which means I'd be in North Carolina.
Girl, come visit. My dad actually goes to the NASCAR races.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so he's been the one in like Richmond, I think,
okay.
And the one in
Charlotte.
Yeah, I think the one in Charlotte, and then maybe one up in Maryland. Maybe.
Yeah. No, I got you.
Yeah, I can't remember, but like he
can't remember.
Loves NASCAR. Like I got him Chase Elliott for Christmas last year, and it's all he wears.
That is amazing. Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Did you get to meet any of the people, like the NASCAR people?
No, I didn't. Yeah, no. It was so the internship that I did was sprint cars, which I'm not sure if you know what that is.
No, I don't know why I said okay.
It's okay. But it was really cool. It wasn't like actual like race cars, but it was still a racing thing that kind of, I guess it's like a stepping stool, like some guys can go to NASCAR, whatever. But it was really interesting. And so I love the racing industry. Like everyone's so nice and supportive and yeah.
Have you ever been to the Indy 500?
No, I haven't. I've never even been to a NASCAR race. I was supposed to go to one in the fall and it didn't work out, but yeah, no, it just really interests me. So
yeah, I kind of want to go to one. I feel like it's like rough around the edges and I could just really, throw myself in there. I don't know.
The environment is insane. So I've never been to NASCAR, but I've been to drag racing. Oh my gosh. Literally insane.
Wait, is it big in Texas? Is that big in Texas? Okay. Mm-hmm. See, I have a friend who went to Baylor and she's now actually living in Dallas. And so but I felt like I've heard her talk about it like a little.
There's one like a little south. I think it's around Waco actually. But it's in Ennis, Texas, I believe, which I think is by Waco. It's like a little south of Dallas. So but yeah, it's really cool. It's interesting.
That is so cool. Mm-hmm. So what would you say to like the girls who are in high school who are like you trying to figure out if they want to be in this industry and how to make a name for themselves? Because with nowadays with social media, it's everybody can make a name for themselves. It's just how you do it. And so how would you say the first and the last stepping stone there is for girls to want to be in this industry?
I think the biggest thing that I've learned is, and this like might actually be like multiple things, but it's just no matter how small the opportunity seems, make it seem like it's the best thing in the world, because you honestly don't know where it's going to take you and you don't know who you're going to meet. So, like I said, this summer I did an internship with the dirt track, and, some people might be like, okay, like whatever, that's the smallest thing ever, but it taught me so much. Like I can't even fathom like how much I like, thank these people, because they just gave me so much freedom and like opportunity to like expand my knowledge and stuff. So like it seemed like a small opportunity at the time, but it ended up being like the one that was the biggest for me. So yeah,
I like that. I feel like every opportunity can definitely lead to something. And I mean, these people don't just come and like, all right, now they're like Jennifer Lopez,
Yeah.
So it's like it has to lead to something. And starting to talk about these stigmas and starting to really deep down realize, okay, just because guys can do it, we can do it also, I think is really going to open up the industry to, for more girls.
No,
and
absolutely.
So, okay, I'm going to describe something to you. I'm not sure if you know what it is because I'm bad at describing it, but my dad always watches it. And it's this round table with the guys and they talk about football, and then it has the timer in the corner and they can only talk about a specific person for 2 minutes. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Is it like a pregame show?
I think it was a pregame show, maybe.
Like, was it a pregame show for a game, or is it just like an ESPN like talk show?
It was on ESPN, I think.
Okay, well, they have a lot of those. They have like a lot of those like talk shows and stuff, or they do it for like a pregame, like something. But yeah.
But you never see any girls on there. Have yet seen anybody sit at that round table who is a girl who like gets to talk about like those players.
That one's hit or miss. Because I totally agree. And that's what I'm saying. Like it is expanding to where sometimes you see the panels and there's always like that one like token girl. Or you'll see it to where they just like haven't changed it yet. But I mean, the industry has a lot to grow, as like I think a lot of things, do. Mm-hmm. But I think they're definitely on the right track, which I really like to see that. So, but no, I totally agree. I know what you're talking about.
Okay, yeah, because I wanted to bring that up because I'm like, I've watched that so many times because my dad's like the biggest football fan, and I've yet to see a girl like sit on there and be like, okay, Aaron Rodgers this week, it's blah 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 blah, like
put me in, coach, I'll do it.
I know, put Lauren in, come on. That's so fun. So, do you work with other females, or is it in your station? Is it mostly guys?
So actually, I'm really glad that you brought that up. I love talking about this because I think it's huge. But the station that I work for, my sports director is actually female. Awesome. And we are the first female duo in, I don't think the entire organization, but at the station ever. We were the first female sports duo for sports director and sports anchor ever. So I love bringing that up because
that is so awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of changing history, I guess you could say. Yeah. So, but yeah, I love working with her because, you do have to kind of get used to working with like a ton of guys. And she was here before I was, and, it was her and 3 other guys. And so she's like, I love having you here and stuff like that. So we definitely get along really well. And, but yeah, I do work with a lot of females, which is nice. And even the other station in Lubbock, the main sports girl is a female, which is super fun. So
do you see that in kind of like smaller cities that it's more female based? And then once you get larger, do you see it kind of stop and you're like, oh, and we're just all guys now?
Yes, because at least, I mean, which I really do get it. Yeah. A lot of commentators and analysts and, whatever sports broadcasters were former players. Mm-hmm. It's very like rare, I guess, to find somebody who's not a former player. And so I think that's where like the big leagues kind of get skeptical of like adding a female in there, because it's like, I mean, like it is true. We're never going to know as much as they do because like they were in that situation. Like they
were in the game.
Yes. They know the inside out. Like like the back of their hand, and it's information that we can't know.
Yeah.
So I kind of get the skepticism there for at least like commentating and stuff. But as you were talking about for like pregame shows and stuff, I mean, like we do our research, we know what we're talking about.
Girl, you know more than I do. Like when they go like switch route, like Aaron Rodgers did the switch route this week to number 89, and then he did a slant route. I'm like, what the actual is going on?
Sometimes I know, I'm like, did you really need to say that? Like, you can just dumb it down for the rest of the people that are watching. I don't know.
I know. So did you play basketball when you were in high school?
Not in high school. I played when I was like a little itty bitty girl. Actually, kind of a funny story. Me and my best friend, I used to live in Chicago, and me and my best friend, we joined this all girls basketball team, and both of our dads were the coaches, and we ended up being the only girls on the team because we couldn't get any girls. So it was an entire guys team with us.
Right, but you're balling at a young age, and look where you are now.
No, I was actually a swimmer most of my life. So
okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
See, I quit swim team when, fun fact about me, I don't know if my viewers know this, I quit swim team when I was 10 because you had to do a flip turn, and I didn't like doing the flip turn because you got water up your nose and in your goggles, and I was not about that life. So I said, Mom, I'm not doing this again, and my swimming career was over. So there you go.
That's actually hilarious. I'm a swim instructor. I have been for, well, I guess not anymore, but I have been for years. And whenever I teach my kids flip turns, that's like the first thing they say. They're like, how do you not get water in your nose? I'm like, you just gotta go with it. I'm sorry.
Then my sister did year-round swim, and she was like amazing at it. And I'm like, how do you do that? Because I'm not about that life.
They're actually really fun. If you ever get to learn them, they're my favorite thing about swimming. I love flip turns.
Nope, I will not. My future kids, someone will teach you how to do it because I don't.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So, well, I mentioned that you're Rachel's sister, and I just had Rachel on the podcast.
Yes.
I said in our little pre-interview that they look so much alike because I think y'all do. But how is seeing her, because you guys are both shining and making a difference in two totally different ways. So how is seeing like her come up on her social media platform, and then you come up kind of on the anchor side of things? Like, how is that fun? Because like, it seems like you guys are really close.
We are really close. It's honestly been insane because so she started, and I think she said this because I watched the podcast with her. She literally, so I was like doing this whole TikTok thing, during quarantine. And she randomly one day was like, I'm going to download it and post something. And girl got like 500,000 views in her first video. And I was like, I'm over here like working my butt off. You know that sound that's like, I'm spinning, like that was literally her. She posted one thing and gets like viral. But no, it's been really cool seeing everything. And I'm really proud of her because I feel like it's right up her alley, and she's always wanted to do something like this. I mean, influencing wasn't always a thing, but I mean, like, she's so good at makeup and hair and just like that creative side of things. Yeah. And so I think this is perfect for her. So I really loved like watching her, I guess for lack of a better word, like find her identity. So yeah, because I feel like a lot of it was like, oh, like you're Austin Gomber's wife, but now it's like you're Rachel Gomber, and Austin Gomber's your husband.
Yeah, she can stand on her own 2 feet, just like you can. Like your identity isn't in like, anchoring. She's a female in anchoring, and I love that for both of you because I feel like you guys are both just making such a difference. And I've told her like for her like to keep doing what she's doing because she's making an absolute difference in the influencer world, but you're making a difference in the anchor world. And so it's so cool that you guys are like sisters and kind of like doing this together and just really making a difference, because it's when we all band together wherever we are and meet each other where we are that we're going to make the difference and see the change that we're going to want to see in what we're doing.
No, you're so right. And no, thank you so much. I appreciate it. But it's funny that you say that. My parents always, because I was kind of the last one to, get this job or whatever. And my parents always say that we're too cool. Like all of their kids are too cool for them now because, their son-in-law is a pitcher in the MLB. Their daughter is an influencer. Their other daughter is a sports reporter, and then my boyfriend is a pilot. So they're like, you guys have such cool jobs, and they're like, we're accountants.
That is so cool. Aww. So do you get to see Rachel a lot since you've kind of started your new job, or how is that? Because I'm getting ready to graduate, and so I'm interested to hear, like, do you get to see your family a lot? Like, I know we're kind of switching subjects, but
yeah, no, that I don't care. It's totally fine. So far, no. I mean, like, I've only been here for 2 weeks so far, but I haven't had a chance to go back home, and I probably won't until Rachel and Austin are already in Arizona. So it's one of those things where I'm just gonna have to find the time and go visit her. But I mean, I don't think it'll be that big of a deal. I'm kind of just waiting for her to go to Arizona, and then there's, straight flights up there. So yeah. I'll go visit her whenever, but
maybe it'll be a cool game. You could go like,
I know. It's hard. I miss my nephew so much. So that's like the biggest thing. Like, love Rachel to death, but I'm like, I just want to see my nephews. Really.
Love you, Rachel, but I'm here to see the kids.
Yeah, basically. I miss Charlie a lot. So
yeah, they're precious. They're cute.
They're cuties for sure.
So how would you say that you kind of, when you see hate on the internet, either in general or towards Rachel, how would you say you've kind of taken that? And how would you say, like, to really be kind on the internet and to be kind in the news anchor world, Girl, I get so defensive. When it's about Rachel. When it's about me, I'm totally fine not responding. I'm like, whatever, like, y'all don't know me. You're probably sitting on your couch, it's fine. But like, when it's about Rachel, I get so defensive. And I probably, like, I've kind of taught myself to try to not respond to them as much, especially now that I'm obviously in a smaller light, but still in the public eye. But I mean, like, back when she first started, I was like, blah, 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 like, you suck. But, well, it's so hard because it's a family member, or when they're like, even like if it was about like you or me, like, they're attacking like your character. It's not like, like Rachel said, it's not like they're like, you can't dance or blah, blah, blah. They're attacking her character and her motherhood and her like life. And that's when you kind of have to draw the line. And that's why I'm trying to get more people to come on the podcast and talk about what they do. And if they see hate and what they do when they see it, because I feel like, yes, influencers are like great. They're making a name for themselves and they're making like a new network. Like, if I would have known when I was like 10 that social media would have taken off like this, like, I would have like not believed you, because like we barely had YouTube when I was 10,
I know. We were like on Facebook, like I'm sorry, I get my
like, I was on MySpace, but like my babysitters were. And so,
yeah.
So now that I'm a nanny, I'm like, do y'all know what MySpace is? And they're like,
no, they just play Roblox.
I know. They're like, well, do you know what Redbox are? Do you know who this influencer is? And I'm like, no. They're like, oh, well, you're old.
No, I get my 10 years ago, like, posts on Facebook every single day. And it's so embarrassing. I don't know what Facebook's been doing to me lately, but normally it's just like a picture. I'm like, okay, whatever. Lately, it's been like, I think the one the other day was like person one, like, I don't know. It was all this weird stuff. And it was like, it's just, I posted some weird crap on there. I was like, what did my parents let me do?
Well, I had a picture pop up and I screenshot it and put it in our family group message. And I was like, Mother, why would you let me dress like this? Because you would not let me change you, and you wanted to, and you thought it matched, and there was no change in your mind. And I was going to let you be creative and explore that. And I'm like, Lord help us.
You have a good mom. You have a good mom, though. That's so sweet of her. I would have been like, we're changing you.
That's so funny. Yeah, it's just so crazy to me how social media, podcasts, Instagram, even Facebook, I mean, it's now called Meta, it's like so crazy how everything is so evolving. But to know that at any day now it could crash and we go back to having nothing, would you be okay with that? Or how would it affect your world? Like,
it would affect me a lot because a lot of people don't realize how much journalists use social media. Like, to be honest with you, like, my everything is social media, just because, like, I post, game updates. I post, injuries. I post stand-ups and packages and stuff. So like I actually use social media a lot for work. Like even if you go and look at my Instagram, like most of my pictures right now are work. They're not even like, oh, I went out and had a good time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
So I think it would like change a lot just because of my job, but like the personal aspect of it, I think I'd be okay because it's just a really toxic place.
Yeah, I find myself going down that hole on TikTok and, comparing and being like, well, why isn't my content doing well? And like, well, why isn't this doing well? Or like, this girl literally is shaking her butt and gets 500,000 views, but like, I'm actually trying to make a difference and it's getting maybe 50 or 100, So it's definitely something I've gotten used to, like the thick skin, like Rachel was saying, and I'm sure you've had to grow thick skin as well in your industry. Mm-hmm. I'm still getting used to that, but it's definitely interesting to say if it all crashed tomorrow, would we be okay?
No, it is interesting because it's like there's one side of it where like I love how, TikTok specifically has like brought people together. Like I remember over quarantine, like Miley Cyrus was like, making a TikTok and like adding somebody and being like, hi, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, I think that's so cool how, they can make videos and just like talk to fans and stuff. But there's another side of it where I'm a huge Maya Knight fan. And I'm like, that girl does nothing wrong. Why are you hating on her? Like, she seems so nice. And I'm like, why? And I don't know. I just don't understand. It's just people who don't understand. And like going back to the being defensive about Rachel, like people don't see, her hard work. People don't see like she's up from 5:30 a.m. with Beckham until, Charlie goes to bed at 9:30 at night. It's like she's constantly working that whole time. And like, yeah, she has a great support system, but like she's busy. Mm-hmm. And, people just give her hate thinking that she sits on the couch and does nothing. And I'm like, no, she has 2 children to attend to.
Yeah. Well, recently she's been posting and kind of like replying to comments. Have you seen it? But it's been good. Like I even commented on one. It was like, you go girl. Like, but then her comments are so positive. They're like, the ones who get it. The ones who don't.
She's kind of gotten some sass, which is funny. Like growing up, like I was always told that like I was the funny one out of us two, but I don't know if it's Austin or like what, but like she's gotten some sass and I love it. She definitely knows how to like respond and just be like jokey about it. And she definitely has a funny side to her now, I love that.
Yeah. Well, y'all are both hilarious.
Thank you.
Seriously. Well, do you have any last words or anything else you want to say to the viewers and just give encouragement to people who maybe are in the same position as you?
I guess some encouragement, just, going off of what we've talked about a lot, you have to have thick skin, I guess, in a lot of industries that you're in just because of, who we are and stuff like that. But, just keep your head up because there's times where you'll go through things and people will just be mean to you and put you down all the time. But I promise, I feel like there's a lot more good out there than there is bad, and you'll find it. So,
yeah. Well, thank you so much, Lauren, for coming on. And do you want to give your socials or?
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay, perfect.
Sure. Okay. Hang on, I'm gonna look them up.
I know I put her on the spot, y'all. Sorry. Well, I didn't know because you were doing your job, and the job.
Go follow me. Okay, so my Instagram is Lauren Cottrell 7, and Cottrell is Cottrell. And then my my Twitter is _Lauren Cottrell. And then I think my TikTok is Lauren Cottrell.
Awesome. And remember,
I need to try to make them all the same.
I do too. Because I know the passwords for everything. I'm like, oh, what is it?
So difficult.
Well, remember to follow her on all her socials. Remember, follow You're Your Biggest Critic on all of our socials. Like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications for Instagram, Twitter, and our new YouTube channel. I want to thank you for everybody for listening and watching. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Lauren, and good luck with everything in your future. Bye, guys.
Bye.